Hello, everybody. It's Black History Month, and we are still celebrating personalities from our community. Today, I am joined by a man named Godwin. I'm going to let Godwin introduce himself and tell you about all the fantastic things he has done. Over to you, Godwin. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much, and thanks for asking me to come over this afternoon. And I have to say, what a fantastic job Mark and his crew are doing. I didn't really know much about when this is going to be and how it's going to pan out, but Mark, as usual, has been badgering me to come and take part in this. I haven't taken part in any of this before.
Well, we want to show you off.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a bit about yourself, just a brief introduction before we go into all the fantastic things that you have done.
My name is Godwin Osigwe. I'm from Nigeria, first of all. And I came to Edinburgh, Scotland way back in 1983. And I've been here since ever the time I came in here. So I guess you could call me a Nigerian Scot.
Fantastic.
I've been here for all that time.
Fantastic. So I have never met anybody who does what you do. Do you want to tell everybody else what it is that you do? What is your title?
I am referred to as an entrepreneur, technology entrepreneur, but at the back of it, I'm also an inventor. I take an idea, look for an opportunity for that idea, and try and create a product for that idea. And so my own background is in physics and plus electronics. I studied at Edinburgh Napier. And I've been a tech entrepreneur now for over 25 years. And it all started way back in the 90s when there was a gas explosion in students' accommodation in Edinburgh. And fortunately, nobody was killed. However, both myself and a former classmate was working on an idea at the time after we graduated, which was like a watch.
Okay.
A watch you put on your wrist when you are going on holidays, but it's a different type of watch.
All right.
The back end of it is in contact with your skin. The front end of it is a UV sensor that senses how much UV radiation that your body is absorbing.
Okay.
And it was during the time there was a hole in the ozone layer, and the people were told you're going to die if you absorb too much sunshine on holiday. So we decided to develop a watch you can wear to go on holiday.
Fascinating.
And we built our first prototype that was working. However, when there was that gas explosion in Edinburgh, we switched tact a bit and decided to develop a gas alarm that would be placed into students' accommodations and care homes and old people's homes, so that if there's any gas leak, then the alarm will sound and basically people will know that there's a gas leak. However, just to cut a long story short, we showed it to the Edinburgh District Council at the time. They told us that the biggest problem they have was carbon monoxide poisoning. If we can add carbon monoxide to it. The problem, of course, is that there was, at the time, no carbon monoxide sensors, no carbon monoxide detectors. So we decided to develop the first set of carbon monoxide alarms for the UK market. And the problem was there was no British standard for carbon monoxide alarm. Today, in most people's homes, you have carbon monoxide detectors. But at the time, there was no carbon monoxide alarm, there was no carbon monoxide detectors. So, and there was no standard. So we actually used a guy, Nigel Griffiths, who was the Labour Consumer Affairs spokesperson at the time, and went to the parliament and met him and tried to force him into getting the UK government to write a British standard for carbon monoxide. So we contributed to that and wrote the first BS7860, which is the carbon monoxide alarm for the UK market.
Amazing.
So that was how it all started.
I've never interviewed anybody like you. This is fascinating for me. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you have brought with you there? Because I think you've got lots of information about all the other things you've been involved in.
What happened with the carbon monoxide alarm, we wrote the standard or contributed to writing the British standard for the current for the carbon monoxide detectors. And eventually we licensed out that technology to another company. And then after that, I had the opportunity to look at other projects. And one project that was particularly interesting was printed circuit boards, because they form the foundation on which all electronics are built. Without circuit board, if you open your phone, you see a circuit board inside it. But the way they produce circuit boards is very, very complicated. It uses a lot of chemicals. And it's called printed circuit board, but there's no printing. So I decided to invent a printer that can print printed circuit boards directly.
Wow.
And so that was not even going to be possible, aside from the fact that I met a mentor, Professor David Simpson. He's retired now. He's 95 years old now.
Where did you meet him?
At one event I went to. And David was the guy that was headhunted by Mr. Packard and Mr. Hewlett in the US to come back to Scotland and set up the first HP plant in Scotland.
My goodness.
So when I met David, when he came back to Scotland, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know, but I'm trying to give it a shot. So he supported me. And with his help, and David also owns a place called Elvingston Science Center, which was a technology park. So he became my chairman. And after that, I was able to hire, having won the SMART Award from the Scottish government, which was 45,000 at the time. We managed to raise 400,000 at the back of that 45,000 government grant. And with that, I was able to start hiring people, and was fortunate enough to hire 25 brilliant guys, scientists and engineers, most of them masters and PhD holders. And we decided to start this project, to design something that has never been done before, which is to create a machine that will print printed circuit boards. And the reason for that is you can use our machine to do that job within 4 to 5 hours. That process normally takes about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. And if you want it any quicker, you pay 400% premium.
Wow.
So that's how that idea came in.
That is brilliant.
And eventually, it took quite a lot of time, effort. It took us nearly 2.5 years, 3 years to develop it.
Yeah.
And in the end, we raised over £5 million from business angels in Scotland and all the venture capital investors who was able to back us to develop it, and we get it developed. Today, you can relate it to 3D printing.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, we are the only company in the world that was doing that.
These are fascinating success stories you're telling me, but can you tell me what some of your challenges would have been along the way?
I think the key challenge is obviously, and it's always going to be, just getting investors who can trust what you're doing and is able to invest in the venture. It's always been a challenge for any startup business. But at the same time, we recognize that, and we recognize that if we have the right team in place, we should be able to get the investment.
Yeah.
So, and also, I personally believe that Scotland is one of the best places to do that, because having lived here for that long, enjoy the place, enjoy the whiskey.
So Godwin, can you tell us a bit more about your awards, and can you tell us more about the SMART Award?
SMART Award, as I said, is a national competition. All businesses, all technology companies in Scotland are open to apply. And in the end, at that time, only 10 companies are going to win it. So I was one of the lucky ones in 1996 to have won the SMART Award. And that follows up, that award was for £45,000. And if you do what you said you are going to do with the money, then you get an additional money, which was £98,000. And if you again do what you're supposed to do, or what you said you're going to do, you get another, what is called, this 98,000 is a SPUR award, SPUR. And after that, you get another 300,000, which is SPUR Plus award, which you also won. So that's one of the awards that I was able to win at the time. John Logie Baird Award for Innovation is a competition. Again, it's a national competition, but it's also a regional competition whereby businesses are asked to submit their ideas. It's an annual competition in honor of the Scottish inventor of the television. And every year they give that award. So we are one of the winners way back in 1998. The other one here is Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And again, this is a national competition. It's organized by Ernst & Young. It brings all companies together, and they will choose the last 4 finalists, and then you have a winner, and then you have a runner-up. So in 2001, I was a Scottish runner-up, unfortunately, because there was a guy who has a very fantastic idea. He won it, and no problem with that. And then the last one is the Scott Edge Award. Now, that is currently ongoing as well. Every year, there is, again, another competition. Is in categories, you have Scott Edge, Higgs Award. Higgs is the Scottish scientist, Edinburgh University scientist, whom is credited with the Higgs boson, which, without boring you, that is something people call the God's particle, which is the particle that underpins the existence of matter, because without the Higgs boson, we wouldn't have matter in its current state. So, so you have the Higgs Award, you have the Scott Edge Award, and you have Scott Edge Wild Card Award. So in 2016, I was one of the winners of the Scott Edge Award.
This is amazing. This is I'm speechless, because I'm wondering, when you set out to come to Scotland, did you know you wanted to be an inventor? What was your mission when you were coming to Scotland? Was it to win a bunch of awards like you did, or was it a different path you were imagining for yourself? What was the plan when you were coming to Scotland?
I was pretty good in mathematics, so I wanted to study a science-based subject.
Right.
I firstly went into applied chemistry. Didn't like that much. I spent a year on that before I switched over to applied physics. So yeah, and ever since then, most of the things I do is applying the knowledge of physics into tackling real problems that I see can become a technology venture. So that's what I do.
Fantastic. So with everything you've done and all the success you've had, what is the future looking like for you? What is the next step for you? What is the next invention you're gonna surprise us with?
Right now, everything I'm doing is all about climate change. But tackling climate change with specific emphasis on sub-Saharan Africa, because a lot of people don't probably believe in climate change, but for some of us who knows more about climate change, we believe that, and there is evidence for that, at least 250 million people in sub-Saharan Africa is going to suffer drastically due to the effects of climate change, whether it's from soil erosion, drought, flooding. So there's all sorts of issues regarding climate change. So one thing that I am currently doing is my current project, which is basically a fridge.
A fridge?
Yes. Because 99, if not 100% of all homes in this country have a fridge.
That's right.
Africa is the hottest continent. 700 million people in sub-Saharan Africa has no access to electricity.
True.
If you don't have electricity, you can't run a fridge.
True.
A fridge is the only appliance that you plug into electricity mains 24/7.
True.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
If you switch it off, everything goes off. So for the past 18 months, I've been developing a fridge that doesn't use electricity.
Wow.
And we've got one that is working. It's been on test bed since March this year, and everything seems to be working. We were supposed to go and do a pilot in Uganda, East Africa, until COVID scuppered everything. But we still have the ambition to go and do the pilot.
Yeah.
The fridge, as I said, it doesn't use electricity. We call it Fridge for All project. We want every single household that needs a fridge in Africa to have a fridge, just like you have here.
Yes.
We want every single business that needs a fridge in sub-Saharan Africa to have a fridge. They don't pay for the fridge, they just pay for subscription. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm from Southern Africa, and with the power cuts that people have to endure in Southern Africa, a fridge that does not need electricity would be the most welcome thing at this time.
That's one of the main reasons why we are developing it, because people use generators, but then that contributes to all sorts of pollution. It's only in sub-Saharan Africa that 40% of all perishable agricultural produce goes to waste every year.
How much?
40%.
Wow, that's a lot.
So if you imagine perishable agricultural produce like tomatoes, peppers, whatever it is.
Yeah.
According to the United Nations figures, these are the real figures that farmers in sub-Saharan Africa, households, and there's another part of it, which is basically, if you, in places like Nigeria, which is why obviously I started developing this, when people cook food, if they don't have a fridge to store it, before, whatever is left over before they go to bed at night, they will reheat it so that it doesn't go off. That's using energy. That's using, whether it's kerosene, whether it's charcoal, it's using energy to reheat what you've already heated. That causes pollution, that contributes to climate change. When they wake up in the morning, if they didn't eat it, they will have to reheat it again to stop it from going off. So these are the main reasons why it's a very big issue in sub-Saharan Africa. Women go to market simply to buy what they need because they don't have a place to store the rest.
That is so true.
So that means they go to market today, tomorrow, and the day after. Why? Because they don't have a fridge. Africa is the hottest continent. Everybody in Africa should have a fridge rather than here, because here it's cold.
It's cold. Yes, true.
So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
That is going to change so many lives in Africa. It's going to change a lot of things. If people aren't having to go to the market every day, they're free to do other things with their time.
Yeah.
You know, they're free to run their businesses.
It's recognized that up to 100 million hours a year, this is a UN figure, could be saved from people in developing, especially women in developing countries, the number of hours they spend going to market.
Yeah.
If they have a fridge, that number of hours could be saved.
My goodness. And I am so privileged and proud to be sitting here with you, interviewing you about this. And years from now, you know, we're going to be referring back to this interview when all these homes in Africa have fridges that don't need electricity.
We hope so.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Thank you so much for sharing all your awards and successes with us. Is there anything you would like to say to all the young men and women from the Black community who are interested in mathematics and physics? What words of wisdom would you give them?
I think the key thing is, the number one thing is a belief in yourself and your capabilities, that you are just as good as anybody else.
Yeah.
You can make an impact, and if you want to do it, you can do it. The platform is there. It's just for you to establish what that platform is, think about how you approach it. Most importantly, know about those things that you need to know. So you've got to spend quite a lot of time in trying to understand the dynamics of how businesses work, and how if you have any ideas, there are always going to be ideas. They're not going to be a product, they're not going to be a business. So you have to think about how you can turn those ideas into products. A lot of the times, if it's a technology idea, you will most likely need investors to invest in that idea. But to get investors to invest in the idea, you've got to convince yourself before you can convince somebody else.
Yes.
Nobody's going to write you a check.
No.
So at the end of the day, you need to understand that you are convinced you're going to make something work, and you are very determined to make it work. You are going to be very single-minded, and nobody should dissuade you from doing it, because if it's that simple, everybody will be doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tell you it's complete nonsense. How are you going to do it? There is issues here, there is problems here, I know all of that.
Yeah.
But you just have to be blinkered.
Yeah.
And once you convince yourself, then you can convince others to back you. You've got to be self-convincing. You've got to convince yourself that you have what it takes to make it work. Then you can transmit that to other people to convince them that you can make it work. You are not going to do it alone.
That's right.
And having lived in Scotland for the past 36 years plus, there are lots of people in Scotland that can help you to make it work. There are government assistance, whether from Scottish Enterprise, Business Gateway. There is all this assistance that can help you to make it work. So the only person stopping you from making it work is yourself. If you are determined to make it work, you can go out there and you can get the help you need in order to make it work. And that's one good thing about Scotland, because in other countries they may not have that same opportunities.
Yes, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Godwin. I cannot wait to, still maintain contact with you, and hopefully in future have you as a speaker at one of our workshops in the community. That would really be a privilege to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.